Hi guys, Darth Deuces here, back with another video. Today, doing a video planned to do and have been wanting to do. I just have been lazy. We would have done this video a little earlier, but I wanted to do to count down my top 10 figures of 2024 so far. I like to do this halfway through the year, even more for myself than anything, just so I have a catalog of kind of where my thoughts were at when it comes to the end of the year when I will do my final top 10 list. And there may be some other top 10s, like I'll probably do a top 10 Transformers. I'm honestly not even sure about other lines because I haven't really I don't think I picked up enough Black Series or Vintage Collection to do dedicated top 10s for them. But yeah, in front of you here is not my top 10. These are kind of like honorable mentions, I guess, kind of to gauge just how the year has been going so far. My rules for top 10, my personal rules that I impose on myself is has to have been released in 2024 or very late in 2023 where I probably wouldn't have gotten it until this year anyways. Have to have bought it, obviously. And I don't include Hot Toys on my list because they're on a whole other league compared to pretty much everything else on here. I don't think it's fair because I actually haven't picked up a lot of Hot Toys so far this year, but if I did, they would dominate the list. I think the only Hot Toys I picked up so far that I have in my possession is Wrecker from the Bad Batch, I think. I'm pretty sure that's the only one I bought so far. Though apparently that's not true. I just ordered the Batman. I'm gonna get that probably in a week or so as of filming this video. But aside from that, I probably don't plan to get too many more. I'm getting tech for the Bad Batch. That's about it. Anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent here. But yeah, let's quickly talk about some figures that I liked but didn't quite make the list. I think right off the bat with Star Wars, both TVC and Black Series for me has just been a little slow this year. And it's usually like that. I find usually Hasbro Star Wars is usually pretty slow the first half of the year, but I feel like last year it started ramping up around this time, and I feel like it hasn't really ramped up that much for me this year. There's a few things I haven't gotten yet. I haven't gotten the Droideka. I actually don't know if I'm even going to bother getting that because I don't have the space to display it, so I know I might skip on it or wait till see if I can get it on sale. There's some other cool stuff that's coming down the line, but a couple things that were really good at the very beginning of the year. We got the new Beskar Mando that I think, yeah, it's a super awesome, much needed update to the Beskar Mandos they've been pumping out until now. There's a reason this figure is not on the list. He came real close, but there's a reason he's not on the list. I got Ki-Adi-Mundi recently. I think he's definitely one of the best releases of this year for Black Series so far. But there was another character figure that I just like more than Ki-Adi-Mundi. But it's a really good one. And then TVC, if you follow my channel, you might be surprised that the TVC Count Dooku actually didn't make my list. I've been wanting a new 3 3/4 inch Count Dooku for a long time. This is the first new one they've done in this scale, I think in over a decade. And it's a really good figure. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a really good figure. But there was one TVC figure that I honestly had more fun with that I think is honestly executed a little better. And another thing kind of in this, to this figure's detriment, is it's honestly pretty much a scaled down version of the Black Series 6-inch figure that I've had for, I think that's going on like 4 years now. And when you've had a figure that's so similar for so long, this just doesn't like hit quite the same way. I'm still super happy this exists, and it's definitely worth an honorable mention. It's an awesome figure, but yeah, that's why that didn't make the list. G.I. Joe, a line I don't want to be so into that more than I am, but they just keep making such good figures. Retro Duke was another great release this year that updated my previous Duke, and the Techno Viper is a super awesome figure as well. I really love that design. And we're getting the Retro Cobra Commander later on this year. There's a few other releases I think I might get that, it's just such a really good line, especially value for money wise, with all the accessories, the articulation detail you get from the classified. A few other lines compare for the price point. Marvel Legends, again, another line that I've eased off a lot on, and I really try to only get characters and figures I really care about. I just got the Astonishing X-Men Wolverine. Not good enough to make my top 10, but it's a really good figure. That is my Wolverine for my collection. And I was super happy to get the Baron Heinrich Zemo. The Baron Zemo characters are some of my favorite supervillains in Marvel. So I'm really happy to get the Heinrich, the World War II version. I don't have the Arnim. He came with Arnim Zola. I kind of wish this guy just came on his own. I don't mind getting Arnim Zola, but it's just like I don't like paying 2-pack prices, but I didn't have arms, so that was okay. McFarlane Toys, again, another line I try to cut back on a lot, which I've been largely successful with, honestly. But I will get figures or characters I really want, and I thought, they made a version of Todd. I had to get it. Again, kind of wish it wasn't in a 2-pack. I didn't need that early concept Spawn. It's not a bad figure. I just don't care that much about it. But the Todd itself, even though I think he's using a fair amount of reuse, he's really good, well articulated, a bunch of accessories. I think pretty, accurate look-wise. Maybe not 100%, but it's pretty close. And then Transformers, I still think, again, Transformers has, one of the strongest lines out there, at least for me. They've been just putting out so much awesome stuff with the Legacy line. Vector Prime was super cool to get. I love the original figure, and I love the character design, and this updated, more articulated figure is super cool. And then YOLO Park, a company that feels like it kind of came out of nowhere, but their non-transforming figures, or model kits, technically model kits, have been kind of out of this world for value for money and just awesomeness. The AMK Scourge is easily the best Scourge figure you can get currently that's accurate to the movie. Well articulated, beautifully painted and sculpted. I love you can remove the mask and put on the unmasked version, all that good stuff. That's such a cool figure. And then the AMK Pro Megatron, he is not on the main list because I'm actually not sure if he came out released in 2024 or 2023. He might have came out at the very end of 2023, which is why he's not on the main list. But if he is from 2024, I might amend him at the end of the year. But obviously excellent. And then 3-0 has been making some banger figures as well. I got Destro along with a few others relatively recently, and Destro is a good example of a figure can be expensive but still not be super duper good to make my list. It's a great figure. I do like it a lot. He looks awesome, and the accessories he does come with are cool, but there's just a fair amount of issues that keep him off the list. He's not very well articulated compared to other figures in the line due to some choices they made with designing the figure. He's got issues like with his neck. The silver paint on the neck scuffs like really easily with the head sculpt, which is a really big bummer because it does not look good at all. And I do think the figure should have came with more accessories, and I think he also should have been a little bigger, honestly, compared to other figures in the line. He's still pretty cool though and deserves an honorable mention. Anyways, rambled on long enough. It's time to get into the actual top 10. All right, now with the actual list at number 10, we've got a McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse product. It is the Nightfall Bane versus Batman 2-pack. And Bane, my favorite Batman villain. And I have the first Bane Mega Fig that I did that I really like a lot. It made my list last year. I think that figure came out last year. This set got announced, and I had to get it because I think this Bane is just super cool, and it is super cool. The paint scheme they went with, where this semi-cell shading, it's not the best ever. I think it looks fine. I don't think it looks crazy good, but it's fine. But yeah, it's just a good looking Bane. I really like the new head sculpt. They fixed an issue that the first Megafig had where they actually gave him interchangeable closed fist hands. That's something that the Megafig was lacking, which is very much appreciated with this figure. And the Batman is also really cool. Pretty cool paint and battle damage, rips and tears all over the outfit. Comes with like 3 different pairs of hands, a Batarang. And I absolutely love that you can do the whole breaking the bat over his knee. And another really cool feature about the Batman figure, and something that McFarlane Toys has started doing, is giving their figures soft goods wired capes, which I think is a super cool feature for a domestic figure line to start doing, because there's not really any other figure line at the price point that's doing this. So that's super cool. Yeah, it's just a great set of a couple of my favorite DC characters, so I had to make the list. And at number 9, we've got my current favorite Black Series figure of the year. It is the recently released Revenge of the Sith Darth Sidious. This is a version of the character I've wanted them to make in the Black Series for a long time now. And I think they did a really good job. On my review, surprisingly, people were actually pretty divisive on this figure. There's some people who were like me, who were really excited for it and really happy with it. And there's a fair amount of people who actually had a fair amount of complaints with it. I feel a lot of those complaints are pretty subjective, but there's still a lot of valid complaints and a lot of points that I didn't really consider. So it's really interesting to see that conversation kind of unfold in the comments there. So I thank everyone who commented. It was really cool. But I do personally myself really do like this figure. I think the soft goods were really well executed. I do like that they use the plastic hood. I know people wanted the soft goods for more articulation, but even with a soft goods hood, you know, once you rotate the head, he's gonna be looking into the hood most of the time. I think the plastic hood, especially for Darth Sidious, who has just such a iconic way that his hood sits on his head, if that makes any sense. I just prefer when they do plastic in this instance, and I think it's executed pretty well here personally. I think the face print and the face sculpt is really well done. Articulation is good. People were kind of complaining it reuses the Book of Boba Fett Luke Skywalker body underneath. It honestly doesn't bother me at all. Because pretty sure in the movie, when you see for a split second under his robe, when Yoda pushes him away, he's just wearing a really simple black tunic and pants. And the Book of Boba Fett Luke Skywalker body accomplishes the look that it needs to do, and it's really well articulated, so it doesn't personally bother me. But yeah, super cool version. I actually got two of this guy. That's why he has two lightsabers, so I could have one displayed with the dual sabers and one displayed with the lightning hands. But yeah, really solid release. I don't know if this will end up being my favorite Black Series of the year or not. We'll have to see what else comes out. Next up, we've got my current favorite G.I. Joe classified figure that they've released so far this year. It is the Retro Scarlet. I actually didn't hate the original Scarlet, but that figure did need a lot of improvements, and this figure delivers in pretty much every way. The Duke that they did is really good as well, but this one is just excellent. I'm really big fan of the just the overall sculpt and the anatomy of the figure. It's a little hard to describe without sounding a little weird, but she has a nice balance of, I guess, like sexiness and like practicality. Like, she's decently attractive looking, but she also has a body shape that would suggest the line of work that she's in, which is ninja, like special ops, military commando. So I don't know, it's hard to explain. It looks good, she looks good, I like it. The face print and sculpt looks great, really well articulated, vast improvement over the first wave 1 release, with all pinless joints and a ton of accessories, display base, a bunch of weapons, with some weapon storage, 2 different ponytail options, hand options. You know, this figure, I honestly, at the price point of a normal domestic retail figure line, is pretty damn near perfect, honestly. The retro Cobra Commander coming out will give her a run for his money, but even though Cobra Commander is my favorite character in G.I. Joe, I gotta wonder if he's actually gonna be able to beat this one, because they just did such a good job on this figure. Next up, we got my current favorite TBC figure release of the year, and it's actually Jango Fett. Just like Count Dooku, Jango Fett has needed an updated 3 3/4 inch figure for a long time now, and honestly, he could still use an updated Black Series figure as well at this point. But I think they just did such a good job on this. Is it worth the deluxe price point? I don't know, but disregarding the price point, it's just such a good figure. Great articulation, excellent paint. Like, yes, still look at this figure and just can't get over how good the silver paint looks on this, and then with the highlights of blue and whatnot, it just looks so good. Yeah, it just looks great. Articulation's great. A good array of accessories. You get the jetpack, the thruster effects, you get a flamethrower effect, his pistols that you can store in the holster, and a swap out helmet sculpt with a unmasked Tamir Morrison sculpt that looks pretty good. Could he have used a few more accessories? Yeah, he's missing his little headgear when he's in the Slave One ship, and he doesn't have his poncho. But, excuse me, otherwise, yeah, really excellent release. They did miss the little triangles on his helmet. That doesn't bother me too much, but it is a little weird, but not a big deal. Overall, yeah, they just really killed this release, and so far, it is my favorite TBC figure of the year. And I wouldn't be surprised if it holds that title all the way throughout the year. Next up, we have the reason why the Black Series Beskar Mando didn't make my list. It is because I got the Mafex 2.0 Beskar Mando, and I don't collect Mafex. This is the only Mafex I've owned, and I've only ever owned one other Mafex in the entire time I've collected figures, which I got rid of a long time ago. And yeah, I think this figure is honestly the best Mando figure currently out there outside of Hot Toys. It's just great. I think it has the best looking paint and detail. I think it's got the best looking sculpt. I think its helmet sculpt is the best out of all the ones that I've released so far. It comes with an absolute slew of accessories. You know, I think he comes with pretty much any weapon he had in the show. He pretty much comes with. Has pretty much all the gadgets and effect parts that you need for the figure. It's got a wired soft goods cape that works pretty well. Articulates really nicely. Yeah, there's not too much else to say. It's just a really, really good Mando figure that I would definitely recommend checking out if you're looking for that definitive 6-inch Mando Beskar figure. So I rarely do Mezco these days. It's just a line that I've kind of fallen out of love with a bit. But every once in a while, they release some really good stuff, and this is one of those instances. I actually wasn't originally even planning to get this figure, but I saw reviews of this Doctor Doom, and I had to see for myself, and it is an absolutely excellent figure. Quickly become probably one of my favorite Mezco in my small collection that I still have. Yeah, it's just excellent. The soft goods, I think, work really well in this figure. He's got a wired hood and cape. A good chunk of die cast used in this figure, so he's got quite a bit of heft. Good articulation. It's not crazy articulation, but it's good articulation. And an absolute ton of accessories. You get a ton of effect parts, magic parts, thruster effect parts. You get the big energy sucking machine thing that he uses on Galactus, and that bit lights up. That's a whole thing that you can attach to him. That's super cool. That I'll probably never display him with, to be honest, but that's super cool. You got the gun there. You get a couple different belt options, a ton of hand options, like 3 different mask options, and then 2 head sculpt options on top of that for the face under the mask. Just a ton of options. It's just, I would say it's probably the best Doctor Doom figure you can get. It is not cheap though, so but it is awesome. If you really want the definitive Doctor Doom figure, I think that personally, I think this one's it. But yeah, this one's really good. Mezco has a few other figures I'm definitely have my eye on. I really do want to get their Green Goblin. I think their Green Goblin looks really good. I don't know if I'll end up getting that figure or not, but I am got my eyes on it. The G.I. Joe line I've been trying to avoid, but the Firefly also that they've just released not too long ago also looks really good. I probably won't get it, but it's tempting. I'll be keeping my eye on that one as well. And at number 4, we have the YOLO Park AMK Pro Model Kit G1 Optimus Prime. And like I've said, I made a video on both him and Megatron. And like I said earlier with Megatron, I think YOLO Park is doing some of the best stuff for your bang for your buck. This guy's under $100, and there's just so much awesome going on. He's a good size, really well articulated, beautifully painted and sculpted. Light up features with the eyes. You can open up the chest and remove the matrix. He's got you can open up the panels on his arm, and he's got the little communicators that he had in the show, which is a super nice little feature. Excellent articulation, good array of accessories. He's got the ion cannon rifle. He's got the interchangeable energon axe, that sort of stuff. It's just such an excellent figure for your dollar, you know. I think it's just, honestly, it's might even be the best looking G1 Optimus figure I have in my collection. It comes, you know, it's neck and neck with the third-party OP leader from Transform Element that I have. They're kind of going for 2 kind of different things. They're both going for an accurate G1 Optimus, but this one's going a bit more realistic with the colors, I guess, because it's more shiny and metallic. Anyway, it's an awesome looking Optimus. If you don't care much about you know, transformation, and you just want a really good, really well articulated G1 Optimus in your collection, you can do no better than the YOLO Park AMK Pro Model Kit, in my opinion. Such an awesome figure. I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't already. And at number 3, we've got another recent release that I got not too long ago, and another figure that I was highly anticipated, probably one of my most highly anticipated figures of the year. It is the 306 scale G.I. Joe Cobra Commander. I've wanted a Cobra Commander 6 scale figure for a long time. I had my eyes on the Sideshow one for a while, but the Sideshow bodies are notorious for being, and from first-hand experience, not being very good. And I don't think that figure's aged too well. And I think this figure is just awesome. They went back chrome with the visor, which looks excellent. I really do like the colors on this one. Some people aren't too big a fan of the shade of blue they went with, but I really like it. Articulates really well. He doesn't have the issues that Destro has. Great array. Well, the accessory does come with are pretty good. I really love the cape look as well, and it's a wired cape. You know, you're not gonna be able to do like as crazy things as some other figures because of the way the cape attaches to the shoulders, but you can still get some really nice dynamic posing with that cape. And like my only real gripe with this figure is I just think it should have came with a little more accessories. maybe a few more weapons or something like that. Definitely should have came with some more hand options. He doesn't have enough gestures for his hands, in my opinion. And I would have really liked to have seen the hooded head sculpt, which I know that Hasbro and whatnot, anyone making G.I. Joe figures is avoiding that like the plague, but I don't see why not. They couldn't do that. It would be super cool. But I'm still, even with all that stuff, I'm still super, super happy with this figure. I just keep looking at this, not even messing with it. I just look at this like on my table or on the shelf or on my desk or whatever, and it just, you know, I just look at it and it's just such a cool looking piece. I'm very happy with it. Well deserving of number 3. It's definitely gonna make it all the way to my top 10 list of the year at the end of the year. So number 2 and number 1, I can honestly say I really can't decide between the two, which ones deserve which spot. I'm back and forth on them like constantly in terms of where they would rank on my list for the year. Both of them are definitely going to make my list at the end of the year. But I guess for now, at number 2, I am going to go with the biggest figure I picked up so far this year. It is the Transformers Legacy United Titan class Armada Universe Tidal Wave. Yeah, wanted a figure of Tidal Wave. I've ever since, you know, original Armada. I never got the original toy. I always wanted the original figure. I still want to pick it up at some point, but now we've got a proper Titan-sized Tidal Wave with accurate paint detail and sculpting, and it's just absolutely incredible. He looks absolutely awesome, articulates really well. He's got some decent features like being able to be the giant battleship or being the 3-part Dark Fleet. He's got the miniature version of himself, the miniature version of the Dark Fleet that can combine with Megatron, which is a super cool feature. Great articulation, I've probably already said that. I love it. You can move the turrets and articulate the guns, and you can put effect parts on them. Really, my only complaints with the figure is he should have came with his Minicom partner Ramjet at the Titan class. Pretty expensive price point at this stage in the game. I'd see no reason why they couldn't have included that. And that is pretty much, though. I don't have too many other complaints, really, though. That's, I guess it also has, like, Titan classes. Being a Titan is both a blessing and a curse, you know. A big part of the appeal of Titans is they're so big. They're so much bigger than all the other figures. But the detriment to that is that they're also some of the most tiring or unwieldy figures to mess with. Like, you got this guy on your desk, or you might not even be able to fit him on your desk. He's too big, and then he's heavy. He's really big to pose around. Like, you can actually physically like tire yourself out to a certain extent. Not like that crazy, like you went on a workout or anything, but like, you know, put in some actual exertion of effort to having just to pose this guy does kind of put him down a little bit, but not by much. I'm absolutely happy with this. Yeah, just such an awesome Titan release. And at number 1 for now, I am going to give it to the 3-0 DLX scale Optimus Prime from Rise of the Beasts. Originally, I was thinking of maybe not getting this figure because I had the Bumblebee movie, Optimus Prime, and I really like that figure. It's really good. But I end up getting this guy, and I do think it's just a better figure. He's got a lot more accessories, a lot funner accessories. But like any other DLX, he looks absolutely beautiful. Pretty much seamless articulation because of the design. Tons of paint and sculpted detail. It's like the CGI model just popped right off the screen. Yeah, it's just such an incredible piece. You know, if you have ever owned any DLX 3-0 figures, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Light up features in both the cannon and the face, or the eyes, which is awesome. Swap out mouth plate with the normal mouth, which is a super cool feature. But yeah, I like this figure so much that I ended up selling the Bumblebee one. So yeah, I've had this figure on my desk like ever since I got it back in like April or whatever, so it's been on my desk for a few months. I think after this video it's finally gonna go on the shelf. But yeah, you know, I absolutely love these 3-0 DLX figures. They're some of my favorite figures to get if I can get the opportunity to get them. They're just super awesome. But overall, that is it so far. Long video, I know, I apologize, I do ramble, but when you're passionate about this stuff and want to talk about it, it takes time to do. But that's the list. I apologize for these not being like super well organized, but like Tidal Wave doesn't even fit like here, I guess. But yeah, it's been a super solid year for figures so far. Like most years, honestly, there's rarely like bad years for figures, to be honest. But a lot of the stuff I picked up is some stuff I was really looking forward to this year. Tidal Wave, Optimus, Cobra Commander, Darth Sidious. Those are some figures that I was Jango Fett even. A lot of these figures are some of my most anticipated figures of the year so far. I would definitely expect to see a good chunk of these making my list at the end of the year, but it will be interesting to see how my list changes. But that is pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what some of your guys' favorite figures of the year are so far down in the comments below. I'm always interested to hear that. And I will see you all in the next one. May the Force be with you.